Hello, my viewers. Welcome back to the channel. And by the video title, you know what this video is about. How good will the Steelers receiving core perform this season? So we're basically going to break down how I think the Steelers receiving core is going to perform this year. And starting off from basically, I'm going to do probably the top guys, the top four guys I believe were the best four in our receiving core. Starting off with Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin, we know last year he didn't play because of the injury to his foot. And, we've seen a lot of highlights and we heard a lot of good things about him in training camp last year, making those big-time plays, showing the speed. And then we've seen him this year also in training camp as well, making those big-time plays and showing his speed and showing he can create separation and be a deep threat for the Pittsburgh Steelers and go out there and just, like, open up some space for us as well. Because, like, we haven't had a deep threat in a while. George Pickens, I guess you consider him more of he can be a deep threat kind of too, but, like, I think he's more of the number one type guy, the guy who you go to like that, your go-to guy like that. And I feel like Jesse Johnson is more not a deep threat really, more like intermediate. The route running is amazing and stuff like that, and his quickness and shiftiness like that to get open and stuff. But Claypool supposed to have been our deep threat guy, but he just never lived to potential fully. I think his rookie year he had 11 touchdowns, and then after that he put up around the same amount of yardage, but the touchdowns kind of dropped down to I think only like one or two, and it just wasn't the same like that. And then I go back, you look at Darius Hayward-Bay, never really with potential. Martavis Bryant was good. He was a good deep threat until he started losing himself. Well, the weed stuff, it kept happening like that. Nowadays, with the rules they got now with the NFL, with the weed and stuff like that, he'd probably be still good right now. But back then, the rules was a little different. So, like, he kept on getting all the suspensions and all the different things that was happening and stuff like that. So it kind of stirred him away. And he never really got back to that level he once was. I remember he came back and returned here. It just wasn't the same like that. But I think that's for the Steelers. I think traded him to the Raiders, or he went to the Raiders like that, and he kind of fell off a little bit. Sammy Coates had potential, but never lived to it. Drew Archer, I remember he was a running back, kind of moves a receiver, but he just was too small. I think a lot of injuries since they happened to him like that. He was fast and had speed, but just not use his speed and control his speed to go out there and make plays. Juju Smith-Schuster, early on in his career, he was kind of a deep threat a little bit. You look at some of those plays he made like down the field like that. He was kind of a deep threat more, but then he kind of became more of a slot type guy, a guy who work in the middle like that. You can rely on like a possession like style receiver who you just rely on third down and stuff like that. He's still a good player, but we never really had a legitimate deep threat or a long period of time like that in quite some time. Mike Wallace was the one I could think of who was like, okay, this guy right here is very consistent, very good. Mike Wallace used to go crazy like that for us and stuff. But I think Calvin Austin has a chance, potential to be a deep threat for us to go out there and create some plays. So that's why I labeled him the spark starter. I'm not saying that this year he's gonna have like him go out there and put up 800, 1,000 yards, but I think he's gonna have some effective yards. I'm looking at probably around maybe 500 yards, but they're gonna be some effective yards and some touchdowns and some plays. You're like, okay, there you go, right there. You're like some 40-yard catches, some 50-yard catches, hopefully even more like that. I think he'll go out there and make some big-time plays like that and build on it to next year. Even more of a breakout now, but I think Calvin Austin is going to be a huge part of his offense. And if you can get a deep threat and get a guy who can open up some stuff where teams got to start respecting it, especially if you're making plays, you start cashing in on those deep threat opportunities, you're going to make everybody's job easier. You're going to open up so much space for the running game and so much space for other receivers around the field as well. It's going to make the offense just flow better. Next, of course, is Allen Robinson. I think he's going to be solid like that. Because Allen Robinson, I know the past few years he's been kind of injured a little bit. Haven't really been playing to the level we know he can play at. But I think now being just the third option for the Steelers, he should go out there and be a solid piece, go out there and make some plays, be consistent on third down most likely, and be a reliable guy, a veteran guy like that. I heard that he was helping some of the guys too in the receiving corps as well, and just showing you that, like he still got it. He still got a lot left in the tank like that. I believe he's only 29 years old, 28 or 29 years old, so he still got time and stuff. So I think he's going to go out there and perform well and be solid. I don't know exactly what the yardage would be. My prediction for that, I say he could probably get 600, 700 yards like that, around that range. I feel like he can be around that range, and that's all you can. That's what he can ask for. You take that for sure, like that. Deontay Johnson is very consistent guy. Deontay Johnson is go out there and I know people like to bring the drop thing up, but if you actually look at the stuff, he ain't really had no bad drop seasons like that. He actually had a pretty good catch rate. Actually, some of the best catch rate over the past few years like that, based off the targets he get as well, like that. Deontay Johnson 1 year, which was like think that was the 2020 year the Steelers went undefeated. I think that was that season. That's the year he had the I think the bad drops and stuff. But besides that season, he never really had the following season after that. He didn't have no bad drops. Now occasionally he might have in the wrong, maybe because they get magnified because in the wrong time. Maybe that's why. Like you might say, oh, he might have one. He might have 2 drops the whole entire time like that. But those 2 drops were like crucial drops. Maybe that's why people like say he dropped the ball and stuff. But J.J. Johnson is a good player, a good route runner. He's quick. He's reliable. Like that, we seen him make plays for us like that. A Pro Bowl receiver, had 100 catches and 1,000 yards before with us last year. Led our team receiving yards again, the 2nd straight year in a row. He's a good player like that. I think he's gonna be a very good player too as well. Next, my prediction. Well, actually, but before I get to that, my prediction for DJ, I can say I don't look at DJ as an elite receiver, but I look at him as a good receiver. So I say 800 to 1,000 yards. Like he'd be around that routinely like that. George Pickens. Now I have a lot of hopes for George Pickens. I have a lot of things for George Pickens. I think George Pickens will go out there and have a Pro Bowl year and be one of the best receivers in the conference like that and go out there and shine and stuff. I'm looking at like 1,200 plus receiving yards and maybe like 8 to 10 touchdowns like that total for George Pickens. George Pickens got a strong hands. He's a vertical threat and get down the field. He plays very physical and he's not afraid. You know, of course, like I mentioned before, he's not afraid to use his hands and use his size and stuff like that. He know how to use his height. He know how to use his speed. He know how to go out there and make plays for the team. So I feel like George Pickens is going to have a monster year. He's going to be a big time year for George Pickens. Go out there, become a Pro Bowler. Now I don't know if he's going to become an All Pro because All Pro is a little, it's a lot of tough guys in this conference. We got the Tyreek Hill, we got the Stephon Diggs, the Jamar Chase and stuff like that. But I feel like after last year he played pretty well, 800 receiving yards like that, and 12 starts because early on the season he got in, but he didn't really play like a lot of heavy minutes like that. They was using him in different like spurts and stuff. Later in the season he started playing and getting more. I thought they used him more. He probably had 1,000 yards that year as well. Probably could have been in play for Rookie of the Year. But I think George Pickens this year, GP, is going to go out there and make some big-time plays, and he's going to be very dynamic for the Steelers. I think he's going to go out there and be a Pro Bowl receiver and just have a monster year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, yeah, I think the receiving corps as a whole will do a good job. And looking at them just based off like the roster and based off the depth, I give the receiving corps like a B+. A B+ because just because I don't know exactly what Kevin Austin's going to bring because we haven't seen him play yet, like in the regular game and stuff like that. But you look at the roster, George Pickens, you look at J.J. Johnson, you got Allen Robinson, Calvin Austin, Anthony Miller still on the roster as well, and I believe Miles Boykin's still here too as well. And Gunner might have been bad on punt return. I don't know why, even though he's an All-Pro there, but he made some plays here and there last year as a receiver. Some of the sweeps he did, some of the plays he made and stuff like that. So as entirety, you look at the whole roster, you might say the roster not that bad. It looked pretty good like that. So we're going to see how things shape out. We're going to see how the receiving corps perform. I'm thinking they're going to be a very good receiving corps. They're very sleepy and very sneaky and underrated and stuff as well. But that's all I got for this video today, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think and how would you think and predict the stats and the numbers for Calvin Austin, because that's the only one I'm kind of like a little unsure about. I think he's going to be a spark starter, but we haven't seen him play yet, so we're going to see how that translates to a real game performance like that. But George Pickens, J.J. Johnson, we know they're going to bring. We know they're going to bring like that. George Pickens get better every year. J.J. Johnson has been showing consistency over the past 2-3 years. And then Allen Robinson, we know what he can do like that at his best. So we know what those guys do. I'm just excited to see Calvin Austin and see what he's going to do, because I feel like if he can emerge as the guy we think he's going to be, it's going to be something special. They're going to be our future right there. GP, DJ, and Calvin Austin. That'll be the future right there. They're going to be amazing to see. But that's all I got for this video today, guys. I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Peace out.